Seoul's evening sky looks different today. The clouds hung like they were grasping something they didn't want to let go of, and the wind blew slowly, as if delivering news that would thrill millions of hearts around the world. In the midst of the hustle and bustle of South Korea's entertainment world that never sleeps, a surprise shakes the timeline, making no one really expected that today would be such a monumental moment in the journey of Kim Taehyung, the High art man better known to the world by his stage name V of BTS. In the silence that has enveloped his solo activities since entering the military, the world was surprised by two glorious news at once. Two great achievements, two achievements that not only prove the quality and strength of Kim Taehyung's name, but also scratch a sweet wound in the hearts of the army who have been waiting, praying, and loving him in silence. Army. A community of BTS fans who never recede in loyalty is suddenly engulfed in a storm of emotions. Tears of pride burst from the phone screens into their hearts as the news was finally officially confirmed. V's Layover solo album was named the best male K-pop solo album by the Global Music Critics Guild, a prestigious international award that has always been a dream for most Asian artists. However, that is not enough. As if the universe wanted to pay for all of Taehyung's wounds, silence, and struggles, Netflix Korea announced that the documentary, Beyond the Silence, which was secretly produced before his enlistment, managed to break the record as the most watched K-pop idol solo documentary in 24 hours. Two achievements in one day. Two surprises that devastate the line between hope and reality. However, it wasn't just the feat that made the hearts of the army melt and their souls tremble. A sweet message recorded by Taehyung before his departure for military training was released along with this announcement. In the 3-minute and 15-second video, Taehyung sits cross-legged in a simple room with warm light. Her smile is distinctive, full of tenderness and tranquility, as if able to hug whoever looks at her. He began his message in a low, deep voice, "Annyeonghaseyo, this is Taehyung. If you're looking at this, it means I'm undergoing my military training. But today, something very meaningful has happened." She paused, looked down, took a deep breath as if holding back tears, before looking back at the camera and saying, "I don't know how to thank you all enough. My album, my documents, are all there because you believed in me even when I doubted myself." And at that moment, millions of army around the world broke out in tears. Social media was flooded with digital tears, with thousands of reaction videos showing fans hugging themselves, whispering, "We believe in you, Tae, always." But today's story isn't just about awards or documentaries. It is the long journey of a man who chooses to walk the path he believes in, even when it is full of mist and thorns. Kim Taehyung is not just an idol, he is a true artist, a fighter for silence, and a symbol of gentle power. In a fast-paced industry that often forgets tenderness and meaning, Taehyung proves that calm can be a revolution, and silence can scream louder than cheers. Since the first day it was announced that Kim Taehyung will be releasing a solo album titled Layover, the atmosphere among fans has felt different. Not because of the shock of massive promotions as often done by large agencies, not because of the giant advertisements in the city center, but because of the feeling of silence that actually enveloped the launch. Something feels strange, even painful. ARMY, who is known to be sensitive to the slightest changes in the careers of BTS members, began to feel something unusual. The lack of promotion, the lack of full support from the agency, and the absence of a big media push all make Layover seem to be born in silence. And in silence, Taehyung proved himself. The album became a solace. Every song, from Rainy Days to Slow Dancing, was written not just to be heard, but to be felt, to accompany long, lonely nights, to be an embrace for anyone who is losing their way. Layover is not just an album. It is the soul that is opened, the heart that is laid, and the love that is shed without the frills of sensation. And so when the world finally opened its eyes and gave an international award for this album, ARMY knew they were never wrong to choose who they would fight for. The awards from the Global Music Critics Guild did not come easily. The curation process is rigorous. Recognized music must meet high artistic standards, originality, and emotional resonance. And when Taehyung was announced as the winner, the chairman of the jury even inserted a statement that made millions of pairs of eyes teary. Taehyung is one of the few global artists capable of making listeners feel like they're looking at themselves in a mirror, just through a song. In the midst of this award frenzy, the documentary Beyond the Silence rolled into the world quietly, but its impact was like a great earthquake. The documentary showcases another side of Taehyung that the public rarely sees: his vulnerability, his anxiety, his guilt towards ARMY, and even his fear that he might not matter enough. In one scene, Taehyung is seen staring out the window of his hotel room in Paris, whispering to himself, "Is the army still waiting for me if I don't shine anymore?" The question rained like rain in autumn cold, soft, yet piercing to the bone. The world answers today. With millions streaming, with critics praising, and with digital hugs from all corners of the world, the answer was clear. We never stopped waiting for you, Tae. But there's something more heartbreaking than all that praise and recognition, the way Taehyung remains himself. Amid the pressures of the entertainment industry that forces idols to be perfect, smile all the time, and keep earning, Taehyung chooses to be human. He allowed himself to look tired, to look fragile, and that made him stronger than anyone. He writes songs not for the market, but for his soul. He speaks not to please anyone, but to convey what needs to be said. And that's what makes it irreplaceable. When the video of his sweet message was released along with the news of the two achievements, the whole world seemed to stop for a moment. No hysterical screams, no empty euphoria. Only silence enveloped, silence filled with tears and small smiles. In the video, Taehyung mentions one sentence that fans keep repeating on social media: "You are home to me, and I will always come home to that." And indeed, the army is a house that never lets its lights go out, even when its inhabitants are far away, even when the world outside is so cold. Taehyung knows that. He felt it. And that's why he recorded the message, to let you know that even though his body is far away, his heart never leaves. Not everyone knows how long and hard the road had to go by Kim Taehyung to get to this point. In the glitz and glamour of K-pop, there's very little room for artists who want to go slow, who prefer meaning to instant popularity. And Taehyung, with all his artistic grace, is the very embodiment of that rare choice. Before Layover was released, many questioned its musical direction. Some were even sarcastic, finding the music too slow, too melancholic, too quiet for a market hungry for fast beats and rhythms that could go viral on TikTok. But Taehyung stood his ground. He does not want to create works that solely follow trends. He wanted to create something eternal that would still feel 10 years from now, that would make people pause from their busy lives and feel alive. Behind the scenes, it turns out that the process of creating a Layover is filled with inner struggle. In an exclusive interview just released by the documentary team Beyond the Silence, it was revealed that Taehyung once almost canceled the release of the album. "I feel too naked," she said quietly, staring at the table. "All these songs are like opening the pages of my personal diary. I'm scared. Afraid the army will be disappointed because this is not like the BTS songs they know." But that's exactly what makes the army love him even more. Because what they see is not just a beautiful voice or an alluring visual, but the courage to be real in a world full of falsehoods. They love Taehyung not just because of who he is on stage, but because of who he is when the lights go out, as he is a man named Kim Taehyung, who loves to photograph the sky, who enjoys jazz at night, and who always inserts the word "thank you," even in the midst of silence.